Welcome in, gods and goddesses. If you have found this sacred space, you are an elite part of a secret society where we cultivate the feminine within. So welcome in, have a seat, and let's get to know our feminine. Now, I'm not going to say this in every video. Since this is our very first video, I will say it. Regardless if you are born a masculine by birthright or feminine by birthright, you possess feminine energy. Because it is feminine energy that allows you to receive. Whether that is to receive your check from your boss or to receive your blessings from the Lord. You are in receiving mode when you are able to allow. So accept that the feminine within needs to be healed, especially if you don't know her. So we're going to get into this. But first, I will cleanse the energy with a sound bath. While we take this sound bath, I want you to take a long draw breath in, hold it for 1 second, and blow out all the negativity from your day. Let's get started. Alright, so from my channeling earlier today, what I picked up on was for us to learn to stop learning lessons unnecessarily. Now, when I dug a little deeper, that message was very clear. The Lord wants us to stop initiating lessons we never needed to learn. Learning things like love is a burden or that love hurts, only to go ahead and have to unlearn that to realize that love is unconditional. It doesn't hurt. It is supposed to feel good. Learning that loyalty is acceptable at all times. When loyalty is earned, you don't give that away. So there are lessons that we learn here in Earth School that are very unnecessary. And it leads to a substantial amount of pain when it comes to our lifestyle here. So unlearning the lessons that we never needed to learn anyway is very important. But what's even more important is when you realize that these are lessons that you're not supposed to learn, to make sure that you don't teach those lessons to your children so that they have to unlearn them later. So we're going to get into this with the Love and Light self-discovery card. Let's see where this conversation takes us. Okay, that was pretty quick. Let's see. We have boundaries. My respectful boundaries are not influenced by social norms or people's opinions when it comes to knowing what's best for me. And here's your card. Boundaries. Now, when it comes to boundaries, I feel like that is one lesson that we learn very difficultly here in Earth School. A lot of times we don't initiate boundaries until we have no choice but to have them. And by that time it is too late, because lines have already been crossed where you usually have to take action. Whether it's pushing someone out of your life that has violated your emotional well-being or mental well-being, even your physical well-being, to the point that they're considered detrimental to you. Or realizing too late that certain things would cause you pain, agreeing to no limitations when limitations are very much needed. So understanding that boundaries are much needed, especially when it comes to learning those lessons. Now let's see what the vibe is on these boundaries. What's the vibe, family, on the boundaries? Okay, first card out was wishful thinking. Second chances, deja vu, and nostalgia. So with this card being your very first card, we need to understand that as a feminine energy, we naturally want to forgive. Masculine energy tends to be a lot less forgiving. They have to learn to forgive. And I mean, it's a lot of ego that has to be dismantled with the masculine energy. But for us feminine, we tend to forgive so easily that sometimes that forgiveness, that ability to love, is mistaken as a weakness. And because you are forgiving and because you are caring, you tend to experience those same scenarios over and over again. Deja vu. So know that even though it is within our nature to forgive, which is what you should be doing, that is what we are required to do by our Heavenly Father. Repeating patterns that we already have dismissed that have violated our boundaries is a no-no. So understand that forgiveness, giving someone a second chance to make up for who they were when they weren't their best self, does not come with an unlimited vice. Our second card is Archangel Michael. Protection. Of course, the boundaries are there for protection. They prevent our ability to fall into the same places over and over again. Repeating cycles, repeating lessons over and over again. This also goes with not learning lessons unnecessarily that you need to unlearn to learn a real lesson. We don't want to repeat them, so you protect yourself with those boundaries. It prevents you from harm. That is your divine intervention. Not to mention, Archangel Michael is a beast. He don't play. And lastly, you have recharge, breathe, let go, and clear your mind. Now this one I love because the energy I'm getting off this card is too many of us are forgiven outright, but not forgiven within ourselves. Many feminines are guilty of holding on to the pain that was done to us. Emotional pain is very much energetic. So where you can forget any physical pain, you can literally be stabbed. And at some point you will forget what the initial feeling of being stabbed felt like. You remember you were in pain. You remember it took a long time to heal, but you will not remember the initial pain. Emotional pain, on the other hand, because it is energetic, when you relive that pain, you relive it as if you felt it in the moment. We know that when we think of someone who has cheated in a relationship, and we think about the pain that it caused and how you felt in that moment, it's literally like reliving it. That's the hard part about forgiveness, is that you need to understand that in order to fully forgive, you have to be able to let it go. Now, that doesn't mean that the person who has done the wrong gets a free pass. That's where the boundaries come in. That's where the protection comes in. But it does mean that you are clear of carrying the burden. One thing I've learned on my trips through Earth School is that when you hold on to these emotional pains, they show up as physical limitations. Emotional pain at one point in my life showed up as breathing issues, issues with my lungs, and they would not go away until I finally made peace with the fact that I actually had been hurting. Instead of saying, I'm over it. It doesn't hurt. Oh no, I'm good. I don't care. I cared internally. I cared more than I knew I cared. But it wasn't until I acknowledged that I cared, I couldn't fully be released from my own pain. 11:11 on the clock. So accepting that your boundaries are in position to keep you safe at all times is going to push you forward into your feminine healing. Now, we're going to go ahead and get a little advice from our spirit guides. Let's see what our spirit guides have to say about these boundaries. And your card for the boundaries. Thank you. I have unique. When the Creator made you, He broke the mold. There is not another person on earth like you. Celebrate being different. This is another aspect of us that we need to accept, is that as a feminine, you'll never be like any other feminine. We were made to be different. We were made to stand out, to show up in that ta-da moment. The feminine is art. She is here to be a bold statement. There is a reason why masculine energy automatically feel vulnerable around a feminine who carries her power. It is because he is supposed to. Feminine energy is supposed to be alluring. It's supposed to pull you in. It is supposed to make you want to see more. The only time it becomes a problem is when you fight that. When you tell yourself that that's not what you want to feel off of that femininity. You fight it, which means you're fighting yourself. She is to show up bold, unique, stand out in every way possible, but also very healthy. It is not for you to be so flamboyant that you get attention because you're trying hard. It's supposed to be effortless. That is the allure of a feminine. Let's get one more. Can I have one more, please? Happiness. True happiness comes from within. Never allow anyone or anything to determine what makes you happy. I feel like this goes very much with the boundaries. Very, very seriously. A lot of times we get into relationships, situationships, where we want that to be what gets us to the point of feeling joy. But the moment that person doesn't show up in the way that we need them to, it all comes crashing down. There is nothing you can do about it. You can't catch yourself, and it's because you put your joy and your happiness into the hands of someone else. 1444 on the clock. Your joy is your own. You make it, you cultivate it, you create it. It's only yours. No one else can give that to you. and no one else ever will. Now, you can experience happiness and joy with others, around others, but it is yours to feel. It is an experience. You can have one experience that brings you happiness and it go a completely different way at a different time, and that no longer brings you happiness. That is because it is within you to feel. It is not where you go that brings you happiness. It is not who you are with that brings you happiness. It is how you feel internally about the experience that will bring you happiness. So in essence, it's a choice. You choose how you get to feel. And with that said, you get to feel happy at all times if you choose to. Now I'm going to get one card from our divine source to finish this off. Let's see what you got to say. What do you got to say? Father God, give me a card. Yeah, a few things. Okay. You know there ain't no limit on what God got to say. The first one is to connect. Connect to our divine source. It says, you're being asked to connect with others in a meaningful way. Sometimes it helps to get a new perspective and simply to be around others. You're in need of this right now, and deep connection will benefit you in many ways. You are here, aren't you? So apparently, as I stated when you first came in, you have found your new home. Welcome to the Elite Goddess Society. And lastly, it is time. You're being asked to move forward toward the dream that you've been carrying in your heart. It's time to bring it out into the world. You are ready. It is time. I'm going to be honest, I kind of want to get one more card. All right, I'm going to get one more. Let's go. I'm feeling drawn to one more card. One more card, please. Manifest. I can't ask God for one card. He's going to give me two all the time. Manifest. You're always manifesting, whether you're aware of it or not. Manifestation is based on your thoughts, and you're being asked to manifest consciously through positive thinking, so you'll attract into your life exactly what you're wanting. I feel this goes with your boundaries. When you set your boundaries, not for someone else, but for yourself, what you'll notice is you'll get what is within the limitations of the boundary. It just seems to happen that way. So I encourage you, understand yourself as a feminine. Understand your feminine side. What do you want to feel? If you are a masculine, how do you want to be loved? And you should love outwardly the way you want to be loved internally. So what you give, you receive. And the last card is your worth. I can't make this up. You're being asked to honor your worth. It can be so easy to feel that we aren't good enough or worthy of happiness. This simply isn't the case. However, you are worthy and you have inherent value. It's time to cherish yourself and to see your true worth. I couldn't have said it better myself or picked a better card to end this class. You are worthy. Figure out what you want, what your boundaries say about you, who you want to be when you show up to spaces and places. Be yourself at all times, and that is what is going to bring you happiness. Thank you so much for being present today. I hope we learned something deep about ourselves. I will see you in our next video. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, because you are now officially an elite goddess. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.